Yeah, I'm very sorry. There's some problem with my laptop. Yeah, can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, there was some issue with. Actually, there is. I mean, this laptop is overloaded. I need to upgrade it. I'm thinking of doing this since last 2 weeks, and I dumped a lot of data into the G drive and cloud, but still. Okay, these are some of the things which we mandatorily need to do. Okay, and the most important, guys, I'm telling, see, if we want our QMS to be perfect, okay, every clause you add risk management, okay, may not be necessary for clause 4, but clause 5, starting from clause 5, you link it to risk management. Okay, and I already shared with you, and I already told you n number of times, when you add risk management to this clause, it means that you are looking at that particular clause, okay, very professionally, thinking of the risk that may happen with the clause, okay, not only thinking of the risk, but also planning to mitigate the risk if anything that happens in the clause, okay, what we call risk controls for risk mitigation, and most importantly, trying to reduce the risk. So what I'm trying to make you understand is include risk mainly, okay, in clause 5, and without option mandatorily in clause 7. Okay, clause 7 is something like deals with some very important like your production, design and development, okay, purchasing. So you need to add risk. I'll tell you, I'll share some documents like how you can add risk into this. Okay, this is what I was talking of. So adding risk management file into all these clause, linking risk management file to planning in design, in your verification, in your production. Okay, risk in post market also. This is 8.2.1. Okay, production is 7.5.1. Verification, validation, verification and design is 7.3. Planning is 7.1. Suppose if you show this document, just this table like how you have added your data or your activities, subclass or subclass to risk management. Okay, it becomes such a great document, like it's not just to satisfy the auditor. For you also, it gives a satisfaction. I have done the documentation perfectly, including the risks that may arise from those activities or processes. Okay. Of course, every process will have risks. There is no process without risk that goes 100% safe. Okay, if the risk arises, of course, it will have some, we need to do the risk evaluation and it causes some hazard or harm. But how you are controlling the risk? What are your risk control measures for that? Suppose I'll say you have scheduled, will take the management only. Management responsible will take 5.6. Okay, there is a management meeting scheduled on so and so date. These are the inputs. We have the agenda of the management review meeting. We have what are the topics for discussion. Everything was planned. Okay, but the management review didn't happen that day due to various reasons. Okay, and it is such an important meeting that it has to happen that day because there will be a lot of decisions that has to be taken in that management review meeting because it will adversely affect further QMS if these things are not done. So what happens is like the risk is you need to take decision. The risk is if it is not done, there will be things that will be adversely affected. Okay, it will result in a lot of what we call in product development residual risk or risk. So what should we do as a contingency that if the risk management review didn't happen that day, how you are going to, okay, handle this as a risk control measure? Do you have any risk mitigation or risk controls if the risk MRM doesn't happen that day? What you will do? Can somebody answer? What will be the risk control option if the MRM didn't happen on the scheduled time and date? Yeah. So there should be a backup or contingency plans that if the MRM doesn't happen on that day, can somebody like a management representative, okay, can take some important decision because I told you in clause 5.6, sir, clause 5.5, management representative has authorities to take some decisions. Okay, apart from his responsibilities, he will also have some authorities to take decisions. So can MR take not all the decisions, some of the decisions that are very important for tomorrow's activity? Okay, or next 2 days activity, can he take a decision? Suppose tomorrow we need to procure some raw material or do some payments. Otherwise, the production will stop. Okay, that is what we call risk control option is there. The MR can take based on his authorities, he can take a decision or he can take a call for the important activities to run the, okay, to run minimum activities that are essential for the company. It could be, what are the essential activities that are? It could be mainly, okay, the production activities, okay, with QC or maintenance of clean rooms. For that, you need electricity. If there is no power, he has the authority to switch on, purchase the diesel and switch on the generator for clean rooms. So these are some of the risk controls where you can take any example. I'll give you a risk control option. Okay, you take the worst of the worst and ask me what is the risk control law for that, because I studied them at a very close quarters, and I am also like, you may be employees, but as an employees, some of you I treat them like your new employees. There are a lot of things for you to learn. I said day one you need to do a lot of upskilling. Okay, a lot of upskilling or hybrid skills, adaptability. You should be adaptable. It's don't say that my job is only doing documentation for one or two products. We should be adaptable, can be moved to other departments and need to learn. Well, there are a lot of things which I also shared with you, like industry 5 is very different. Industry 5 is 5.1 is going to be very different. It's not like what we are doing today. So it's time for you to accelerate, switch gears, and okay. I mean, what I'm saying is every time you should have risk controls for every activity. What we call it as a contingency plan, or what we call it as plan B. Okay, in different domains they call it with different names. Okay, contingency or an insurance. Okay, or an backup or a plan B. See, this is very, very important for organizations, okay, functioning at 24 into 7, okay, and also manufacturing very critical medical devices. Of course, for all medical devices and particularly for critical medical devices, okay, you should have, I mean, that's what I'm saying. In your planning only, you should have risk involved. Okay, risk management involved, where you should have, these are my risk controls if something goes wrong. I have plan B or some backup. Still, I can run this. Okay. But worst of the worst, there is a tsunami or earthquake or something that nobody can avoid. Natural disasters. Natural disasters are not there in our hands. It happens sometimes. So when I was working in Chennai, no, it's happened. There was something like too much flood that cause stoppage of all production, and that result in delay of delivery products. And that we can't avoid. But apart from that, what is manageable by humans, okay, by us, we should have a contingency plan that has to be included. And that's what we call risk management, being included in all the activities of product realization, from your planning, design, verification, production, post market. Okay. If you read this document, and if you share this document with anybody, they'll appreciate. And I also shared one document. I don't know how many of you read. You're all working professionals. You will be busy. Okay. But I said you should spare an hour or two every day instead of scrolling to the reels, instead of I mean, looking some stupid things in YouTube which doesn't have a no. I know, like You should have a social life, but too much social life is also bad. Okay, social life enough for, I mean, to relax your thing. And I also said like when you are upskilling your things, getting certifications, uh, you need to do it at a very fast pace. And I also stress that, I mean, morning only I spoke with some people, uh, perhaps few of them are my employees, that you should not have stress. Okay, why you feel stressed is not because of your physical activities. Okay, we rarely do any physical activity like so many people do, like the farming or driving trucks and building in construction. We do very less physical activity. We don't get stressed up because of physical activity. We get stressed up because of two things. Okay, because we don't have clarity in our decisions. Okay, whatever you do, see, whatever you learn, it could be small things, it could be big things. Okay, once you have clarity, okay, you won't feel stress. Okay, but if you don't have clarity and you keep asking questions to yourself, why it happened, it should not happen that way, and there will be overthinking on that. Overthinking, overthinking is very bad. Overthinking adds to stress. It not only it is one of the biggest reasons for stress. So whatever you study, you have clarity on that. Okay, whatever minimum you understand, that's fine. I said risk management is very essential in all class. Okay, you got that point, fine. How to adopt risk control measures in every class? Okay, I discussed with you. If you understood, that's fine. If you want more clarity, you clear that then and there. Okay. And suppose I said it has to be linked with all clause. How you are going to link, understand it and leave it. Don't carry stress for don't carry this, unclarity or not being clear, confusion for a long time. What happens is when you don't have clarity, it keeps stress, and by the time you go to sleep, you still be thinking of that and it will add stress. So what I'm telling you is actually this is the same thing I told to some of my employees today. Okay. Clear everything, whatever you have. You may have a lot of higher ambitions, but that is very important. But more importantly, have things settled before you leave the work or just before you sleep. Okay. I know there is a lot of competition around, it's more intense than ever. But be very open and make things clear on whatever you learn. Okay. It could, for some, it could be in their personal life. It doesn't matter. Okay. But coming to this point, add risk in every clause and have clarity that you have risk controls for every clause. Okay. And reduce the residual risk if there is any harm or hazardous situation to that process. And of course, I said like I shared this QRM, quality risk management. I think I will discuss on QRM when I talk about risk management, that is 14971. Okay. This is what we call integrated planning. Integrated planning is planning with risk. When I say planning with risk, means don't carry risk with your plannings. Have risk mitigations or contingencies for the risk, then you plan it. Okay. Without, I said no, any process or anything in life will have risk, but we should find some ways to overcome them. Okay. There's some concept or design and input, production preparation or validation, all this you have clause 7.1 on planning and how you are addressing, okay, what is the risk management integration. Okay, I'll talk on this very categorically when we come to 149 Okay, these are the questions for you, which I'll be sharing. These are auditor's questions. Okay, this I already told. So you need to integrate risk management in all product realization, perhaps not all product realization, in all clause, okay, in all clause of ISO 13485, and most importantly, in product realization. As I said, product realization is the real thing, the crux of the movie, crux of the things that are happening in QMS, that is production. Again, I'm repeating design and development, purchasing, and monitoring and measurement controls. The clause 7.2 is customer related process. This is not very much linked to most of us. It's more clerical. This basically the what do you call it? These guys, marketing guys will take care of it. Marketing with the QA, generally they address it. Okay, marketing and sales and distribution. Okay, but we need to be careful. In the core concept is the organization must determine all requirements related to product, including those specified by the customer, regulatory bodies, those necessary for intended or unintended use. So what there are three things basically you need to understand here. One is generally we have customers of our own products which we are manufacturing. Okay, like and this I look only person who has that manufacturing, who is working in the manufacturing. Of course, she is not in manufacturing, but the company as manufacturing is intuitive. They manufacture, say, robotic surgical instruments and some other instrument, basic instruments related to robotic. Okay, that is their own manufacturing idea. They are manufacturing for themselves of their own designs, own production planning, and they do supply to the customers, to the hospitals who require it. Okay, for them, they are for my products where I am naturally started my organization, those are my products. Okay, some companies also do production for, or they also produce what we call contract manufacturing, OEM, OBL, for others. Suppose, when I worked in some companies, this was a very important thing, that we used to manufacture a lot of components, semi-finished products, and sometimes total finished products for that organizations. Okay, some we exported, some for India also. So during that time, we need to be very careful, like what are your requirements and what are your specifications. So because they are customers for us. Okay, for my own products, I have freeze my specifications, designs, all that processes. I know what to do because it's my company. I know what to do. But if I'm doing it for other customers, other manufacturers who are not using my regular product, okay, they could have some different specifications, drawings, some processes, additions, something else. And if my organization has the technological feasibility to do that. Okay, I have the equipment, I have the technology to do this for them. which are very close to my devices, what I am doing. So I will cater to their interest because it's giving me business. Okay, I'll do contract manufacturing. Some company asks, okay, you give me these components or give me these tubings, extrusions. Okay, provide me some stands or hard valves. Okay, but I don't give of my design. Okay, I'll give them of their design. If they want to use my design, then they need to pay for me. Okay, more money, extra money because I am doing a technology transfer. Okay, I am using my designs. I am doing technology transfer to that customer, and I don't do it free. I charge them for whatever I am doing in-house for my regular production. If they come out with a new design, okay, new processes, and if I'm capable with my technology, okay, then I'll do it, but I'll ask them to pay some money for doing some of the extra work on validations, verifications of their designs. Okay, it basically comes in contract manufacturing. We charge them. Okay, we ask them to provide raw materials and all that stuff. There will be an agreement on that. So there will be two, three varieties of customers which we have. Some customers will be like OBL. You know, OBL is own brand labeling. Okay, actually, I do my products same like I do what my company requires, but I will have a branding of the company which wants it. Okay, some company wants their label. Okay, on their packing. Totally everything should be on their name, on their brand. I'll do it, but I'll sell at a higher price because they are using my technology to sell their product on their brand, not on my brand. That is called OBL. The own brand licensing. Actually, Merrill Life Sciences does this lot. Okay, I know like 20-30% of their products are on OBL only. They get manufactured from one company and ask the company to label. Even from the packing stage, everything will be on Merrill. So that is called own brand OBL. One is OEM, okay, where we do manufacturing in a bulk and give them components, okay. And other is contract manufacturing. Okay. In contract manufacturing, we either may go with new designs or our designs. In that, there will be different type of business and agreement. So we are talking about different customers. Suppose if there is a customer, okay, we talk about customer requirements. Suppose if he is my customer who is using my devices, I'll ask them what are your requirements. Requirements is not on the design or what I have to do. The basic things like what are the sizes you require, when you want the delivery, okay, how many products, what is the quantity you are looking at. These are the basic queries generally marketing people will have. Okay, required specified by the customer including delivery, post-delivery activities, installation, servicing, internet. Okay, this comes as sales order or purchase order, contract. This will be for the marketing team. Okay, unstated requirements. There will be some requirements which won't be mentioned. Okay, but necessary for that. Like say, I want this study ergonomics or the shape of the packing to be like this. Okay, they may not mention in the document in the purchase order, but we can design a very good aesthetic, beautiful packing. Okay, I mean, I should not use beautiful because for medical devices, packing should not be beautiful. It should be more ergonomic, more compact. Okay, uh, I mean that words are it not necessarily should be colorful, but of course when it is aesthetic, it will have a good eye appeal. Okay, people look that device 1 or 2 times because it has a aesthetic appearance. So that customers won't mention. Okay. And some like the ease of use of the product. I've seen a lot of products where opening the pack will be very difficult. Okay. Forget about the equipment inside. Removing the pack or tearing the pack, it takes so much of time, mainly for equipment. Okay, disposable that you can use a scissor and cut it. For some of the equipment, opening the pack will take half day. So we need to request like make it more easier, affordable to remove. Okay, there are different, I mean, you can see in the consumer products, they have different aspects. Suppose you buy some chocolates like Cadbury or some Five Star, they'll give a small cut so that you can remove the pack easily. You can tear it easily instead of using all force. I mean, to make that chocolate waste or crimp it off. So these were some unstatement. And the most important, guys, you need to remember is the regulatory or statutory requirement. Suppose that guy wants, somebody has, they met me that we want to export it. You be our customer and you are my customer and I am doing contract manufacturing for you. But don't want to sell in India. I want to export it to US and UK. So I need to have an understanding on European regulations, US regulation, so that I can manufacture the equipment and provide the documentation as required for EUMD or for selling in Europe. Okay, 510K or USFDA 510K or PMA for selling it in US. So these are some of the regulatory requirements. Okay, some of the standards also we need to follow, not only the regulations like ISO standards, IEC standards, all this come. So all applicable regulatory statutory requirements must be identified, including the relevant product labeling, packing, advertising, including, I mean, there are a lot of things not limited to this, like the labeling of the product. See, labeling or IFE is very important because the language will be different. You need to use their common language in Europe, like if you are selling it in France or in Germany, you use IFA should be in German language, or France it should be in French, or Netherlands I'm selling it should be in Dutch language. Of course, you can also include the English, but these are some of the standards they say that you should follow that are regulatory standard. So first is the customer requirements that has to be met. Second is some unstated requirements which they don't tell you, but orally you can understand. They want such a product. And the most important is the regulatory or statutory requirements. Okay. The other is the risk management. Again, in customer related processes, I told you, and I'm getting tired of telling this. Everywhere this risk management comes. Okay, it's for good or bad, I don't know. Okay, whenever there is risk management that comes in, you need to include, it's always good. Okay, even in customer related process, you need to include risk management. You quote me any example where there would be risk. I'll tell you the risk control, how to handle it. Okay, you can test me or you can test my intelligence whether I'm good in risk management or not, or with some options to mitigate risk. Okay, then you need to have review of requirements related to product. Okay, review before acceptance. Anything, whether you are doing an OEM, OBL, or your own manufacturing of your products, check the purchase orders, whether they are properly mentioned, the dates, delivery times, the cost, okay, the quantity, or whether you can really deliver on time is the first important thing. If you are not able to deliver, discuss with them, plan it properly. Okay, that is the review before acceptance. Before you accept the order, you need to review a lot of things like say contract review record, like a lot of things, then I can do it. But don't just sign without review, don't accept it. Okay, if there are any differences between you and the customer, you need to resolve it. Okay. It's like change requests or engineering drawings, like what we do in our QMS change controls. You can do change controls in the approval or have a new agreement with them, or you can do amendments. What we call is you add an amendment to that. So these are the changes in the agreement which happened also, and so we are making some changes in this. What we call amendments, like what we do, I mean, what ISO or any regulatory document does, as they go on, they do a lot of amendments. Okay. And amendment of requirements. In the requirements, customer requirements also, you can do amendments. Okay, but you need to document them. Okay. Document control log you need to maintain. Of course, everything has to be documented, but you need to pragmatically document the customer requirements, because after you produce those, manufacture those devices, the customer comes back and says that I have not asked for this, I asked for only few numbers, and he starts complaining on some of the things. Then you should have an objective evidence to show him that this is what we agreed on, we both have signed it, and this is the change control, this is the amendment. Okay. In these agreements, you should not, I mean, come to a conclusion or come to some mandate just by oral communication. Everything has to be written, documented, and signed. As I told you, most of the documentation happens on bond papers. When you do it on like 100 rupees bond papers, when the documentation is done and signed by the both parties, it will become a legal document. You know what is legal document? What is legal document, guys? Are you sleeping? What is
Which have legal value.
legal value means?
Means if someone is cheated on the something, then you can go to the court or
Yeah,
something.
go to the court of law, or you can file a complaint, not FIR, like you can go to the court, because this is very important when you have customer agreements, contractual agreement, that you need to do it on bond paper. Okay, even what we call MOUs. Okay, what is MOU? What is MOU?
Memorandum of understanding.
Yeah, when you do an understanding also, it's not that he is my friend, we have a common understanding. Okay, that's a different thing. Though he is a friend, but now it's mandatory as per the regulations that you should have, even this happens with a lot of outsourced outsourced activities like suppliers, contract manufacturers, or outsourced sterilization units, whatever you outsource, you should have a legal binding to that. In the sense, you should have it written, documented, and signed by the top management of both parties, so that if something is, I mean, some mischief happens, it could be on either side. That guy may cheat or we may cheat them. Okay. Then it's since it is legal binding, then they can go to the court. It becomes a legal issue. Okay, that are the amendments. Okay. I told this out of my experience. It's not like even with everything you should go for legal mining. If you marry someone also, you can go for legal mining. That's not the case. Okay, communication with customer is very important. The communication, without communication, nothing will happen. But it is always better advised that you should have written communications. Okay, it could be on document, I mean, on paper or documentation, I mean, like communication through emails, but not like on WhatsApp and other thing. Okay, a proper communication channel has to be established when you are communicating with the customer. Okay, what are the areas of communication? We give product information. Okay, inquiries, contracts, purchase orders. This is very important for the company. We need to have customer feedback. Okay, we should ask for the feedback of the device, which I will tell you when I come to clause 8. Customer feedback is a very proactive option. It's a part of PMS to have customer feedback. And I tell you, okay, as per EU MDR, European regulations, you should have 5% of customer feedbacks done, completed. Okay. You know what I mean by 5%? Suppose I'm selling 100 products or I'm marketing 100 products. Okay. At least I should have feedbacks of 5% customers or 5 number of customers or 5 customers. I have 100 customers. Okay, I'm selling products to them. Okay, for at least from 5 customers, I should have the feedback. You can go that way or you can go the other way. Like, so I am selling 100 devices. The customer could be 20 only, but for each customer I am selling 4 devices, so 5 into 400. So from each customer I should have 5%. So overall what you need to have is 5% of devices you sold. Sorry, yeah, 5% of customer feedbacks you should have for the devices you have sold. You may sell 100,000, 2,000 or 10,000. You should have 5% customer feedbacks. And this is very imperative, important in European regulations, UDAMA. Okay. And I'll show the standard. It's there in clause 3, sorry, Annexure 3, chapter 1. Okay, in UMDR 2017-745. Okay, and now it is also become mandatory in IMDR. Okay, and most of the countries, IMDR is also making it mandatory. And maybe some of you may not be aware. I think I shared on WhatsApp, maybe you had read it or not. You need to report your complaints, adverse events, serious adverse events, okay, any event on Cidisco medical device portal called Metro Vigilance. Okay, Metro Vigilance Population India. There is an portal opened by Cidisco Medical Device Division. How many of you know this? Many of you know that there is a portal open for, like, say, Udamid has, for Europe they have Udamid, for US they have Mode, and for India we have Metro Vigilance for medical devices. Okay, whenever there is an incident, complaint happens, okay, to report it. Why this is important? Why we need to report? Okay, so okay, why we need to report it to some regulatory body when some incident happens? You have heard of recent incident that happened on, no, it's not a medical device, it's a pharmaceutical product. Okay, where almost like 40 children, more than 40 children died. You know this?
Of syrup case.
Yeah, cough syrup case, where they use an ingredient which is not allowed to be used in color. Some, I don't know, like it's some polypropylene glycol. Actually, this product, the manufacturer is in Chennai. Yes, I think I told to you. He has marketing around pan India. So he supplied that. And I think it happened in Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Almost 40 children died, including some infants, like small children, 2 years, 3 years old children died. It's a tragedy because why I am saying this is you need to have this kind of system of reporting. Suppose some adverse event happens, okay, and it is reported, immediately the Cisco or the Metro Vigilance Department, after understanding that there are series of events that are happening, immediately they will stop or recall, or the company, they will ask the company to recall the products. If the company can, okay, formally recall the products, so that it won't affect the second person or kill the second person or cause morbidity to the second person, or at least the third person or the 10th person. It will be more contained. You can restrict the spread of it throughout the population or throughout the area. So immediate action can be done when you have this system of reporting the adverse events or complaints. Otherwise, people like, I mean, it's like 40 children will die. Nowadays, only it happened in 2, 3 cases, and suddenly it was even the hospital or somebody reports it to some authority. So, like 30 or 40 children would have been saved. Okay, that's a problem with the Indian system. Okay, then this is what I am talking, advisory notices. Okay, we can give advisory notices basically on the adverse event that this has happened. Okay, you need to recall it. Okay, this basically happens in US and Western countries. They have a very, I've seen a lot of recall that, I mean, if you open up their US portal like Udemy, sorry, that is EU portal, Europe, and US portal, that is Mode, you can see a lot of recalls happening. Why they are recalling it? Maybe I see Madhu's company also. They have recalled lot of their devices, their robotic surgery devices. They called a lot of devices recalled. Okay, I have a report of them also. Why they recalled? I studied that. Their company is in Q2, very good global company. Okay, and other information like a contractual clause, like if you don't like further communicating, you can terminate your agreement. Okay, based on certain agreement that further we don't want to work with you. Okay, that clause will be there. Termination agreement also will be, termination clause also will be there in the agreement that with 3 months notice, I can terminate my agreement with you. Okay, and it also, there will be also one clause in that in case of any dispute, we can go to a certain court. Okay, suppose if it's in Ahmedabad, I'm in Ahmedabad, I'll say any high court in Ahmedabad we can go. If I'm in Hyderabad, I'll say high court in Hyderabad, we can go. Okay. These are some of the practical scenarios, okay, requirement review failures that could happen or non-compliances. Review failures, if you don't review the documents before acceptance, no. If you don't review before acceptance, what will happen? If there is a communication, this is very important. If there is a communication failure, it almost leads to disasters. Okay, determination. Okay, if there is, okay, the rush order, immediately they say, I want it tomorrow night or tomorrow morning. And there will be heavy rush, it leads to failure of the day. Okay, these are customer related processes, questions, which I'll be sharing with you. Okay, this is 7.1, 7.2, and their subclause. And or you will you be joining on Tuesday, guys?
So first half, like 1 hour of the class, I can join. So from 6:30 to 8. Like after that, I have to leave my son to school. So
Okay,
if
no worry.
possible.
I'll send the recorded session. You attend from 6:30 to 8. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
What about others? Vaibhav, Masjid, Akanksha, Madhu.
Yes, I can join. My office timing has been changed from 9 to 5 now, so it will be good for me.
Vaibhav, can you
Yes, sir,
join?
no problem.
No problem. You can
Okay,
join.
Madhu. Madhushri, can you join on Tuesday? I think Madhushri will be sleeping while traveling, I think. Okay, but I'll WhatsApp to her. But we'll have it on Tuesday so that we'll complete design and development at least.
So she had a message on chat. She will join.
That's great. I'm not looking at charts. Sorry for that. Okay. So this I'll share, and I'll be sharing some more documents for your understanding and review. Okay.
So, what does this DIO means in audit type?
This is you need to give a documentary evidence. Okay. I means some input evidence. O means output evidence. Okay, to the auditor, you can give a document evidence like SOP or something. Record, I mean, input is some input evidence which you used during your process. Okay, actually, you can totally make it as a document, but I have done this in US type. Okay, in US, you call DIO system of submitting the document. This is only a document because you see all processes. Okay, and it is also good for you to see all processes like you have inputs and outputs. Okay, that's the better way of viewing, I mean, viewing any process. You name a process, you should tell me what are the inputs of the process. And after the process, there will be like some outputs. It could be anything. Like if you look at management, you will have inputs for the management for the review. There will be outputs after the production, you'll have inputs, outputs. Purchase, you have inputs, outputs. R&D, you'll have a lot of subclause will have inputs and outputs. And basically in the audits, the auditor will direct your questions to the inputs and outputs. Okay, if he has any problem, he'll ask for some documentary evidence. Okay. I mean, this is the best way of giving answer to the auditor or audit type. Mostly it's done in US, but slowly, I mean, people in India are also adapting to this style of auditing. Okay, so I'll teach you, I mean, since we have come to the topic of auditing, after I complete on Tuesday design and development, uh, and also touch upon 8.4 clause 8, because we can close them quickly. And I think since you have three options, but I'll be picking up option of going for internal auditor training. Okay, after we complete this. So after training, it could be 2-3 sessions. It could be a short exam like 30 MCQs and some real, some scenarios uh, real world experiences where you'll find NC, but you need to understand what is the scenario. Like you need to raise the NC based on the clause, which clause you are raising the NC. Okay, that could be also there, and mostly it will be like 50 marks. I'm following the standard like how the internal auditing is done. For internal auditing, there are different standards like see 19018 is the standard for auditing requirements. I'll share that. But it's more like an open book exam. You can refer to 13485 document or IS 9000, but it will be more a practical approach where you need to understand it logically. It will be not like a classical question and answer exam, like how we are educated. Okay, like we have a question answer, study question and answer, get marks. That's not, it's more application based. Yeah, where it's important that we need to work on more application based. Now the education system is moving to more application based. That's very good. Not on question and
Yeah.
answers.
So I had a question. How to
Yeah.
remember the subclasses, sir? I really struggle to do that. Because people who are constantly on the device industry can little bit do that good, I think, from my perspective. But I'm trying to do that, but I'm lagging on subclasses. Especially I can remember what are the classes, what are it refers to, but coming to subclasses, what are the files has to be processed, I'm lagging totally. I'm lagging.
Yeah, I'll text you. See, it's like you need to write all class and subclass on piece of paper. Okay, and carry with you wherever you go. Okay,
I
no, I'll tell you one logic. It will be applicable, but broadly you can do that. As I told you today, see, clause 1, 2, and 3 are very simple. You know it. Okay, scope, normative references. 3 is definitions, vocabulary, and other things. Okay. Clause 4 are from 4 to, you can remember the main clause. 4 is on documentation, 5 is on management. Okay, 6 is on production, sorry, resource. Okay, on the resources, it could be any resource. 7 is product realization, means how you develop the product, a whole process of purchasing, design and development, production, customers. Okay, all this come into clause 7. Okay, clause 8 is basically on copper. Okay, it's more a PMS. Once the product moves out into the market, what you will monitor, like the complaint handling, okay, corrective preventive actions, how you analyze the data, what you got, data analysis, okay, and after doing that, how you will improve the product. It is very sequential, okay, but for you to make you understand, see, for clause 4, any first clause, subclause of any clause will be planning and requirements. Okay. Mostly, yeah, if you look at 4.1 or 5.1, 6.1, 7.1, 8.1, see, now we studied 7.1. It is on planning only, planning and requirements, and it will, some clause will say, And some of the clause which you can remember is, perhaps most of the clause will have what you call integration with that particular clause. Suppose I say purchasing, how I integrate risk with that? R&D or clause 7, how you integrate clause 7? There will be separate subclause for risk in most of the clause. Okay. Then after planning and requirements, the next subclause will be mostly on the implementation. It may not, they don't write 5.2 as implementation. Okay. They mention some way that how to, it could be like, once you plan and do, then there will be a process and implementation. Okay. That's what I told, like you have a procedure, then it will turn into a process. Okay. It's like process is that which you implement. Are you getting my point?
Yes, I got it. I stuck a paper in my walking table. I'm just watching that daily, but it's taking time.
Yeah, no issue. You can work it out.
No, when Mazid or someone else said this is the classes, quickly, I'm just watching that paper. Oh, okay. I have to improve on it.
Okay, fine, no issue. You write all clause. I think the only clause which has more subclause is 7. Okay, all has just 4 or 5 subclause. Okay. Anyway, I'll text you separately, like how you can remember.
Sure. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Take care. Bye, Bob, Majid. Bye. See you on Tuesday.
Bye, sir. Yeah.